Hello and welcome to the podcast where good trivia gets rewarded and bad lies are punished. This is What's the Fact?
Yes, indeed. And what you're watching is very real. It is not an animation. Even though its Technicolor is vibrant and lovely, we are real. And this is the real Warren Robertson. I'm the real Ryan Whittal. Welcome to the show.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Brilliant.
I brought in the theme there. Did you see a little
I
bit
did.
there?
A real theme that we're real in some way. How do you know?
How do we know that we
we're
really
real?
are real? Well, I think, therefore I am.
I mean, we know we exist, but not
Yes.
necessarily in this form, right?
Yeah.
We're already off the track.
Philosophy. No, it's not philosophy. No.
Right. It's cartoons.
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 I think we settled on cartoons because Dietz was like cartoons, and then we were like, I think we settled on kind of anything that's animated,
Yes.
really.
Yes. We were going to go like, can we do South Park? Can we do Family Guy? I went very like childhood nostalgia with this
Okay.
one. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, cute. Okay.
Very lovely.
Well, I went, you know, whatever I could find, whatever I could think of. You know, this is, sometimes it's about what you can remember. And
Well,
then you have to go on the internet and make sure that what you remember is in fact a fact.
Yeah.
So that you're not just
You've got a lighty now, so are you watching are you showing him some of your favorites from when you were young?
oh, you mean a child?
Yeah, lighty.
Yeah, like a child.
You're
yeah.
like a lighty, man.
Yeah,
He's
I've got a child.
you've got a
He
lighty.
loves Scooby Doo. I showed him Scooby Doo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's
Excellent.
He's not yet at the stage where he can appreciate the gummy bears yet. It turns out.
he's
He
gonna dig that.
watches it, but he doesn't love it yet. You know? But he likes Scooby Doo very much. You watch Scooby Doo over and over
Gee,
again.
that's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Smurfs, you must show him the Smurfs.
Yeah, he's seen the Smurfs. It's fine. It's fine. You know, I'm excited about the Smurfs. You know, there's some incredible stuff on Netflix and Disney Plus these days that it just makes the Smurfs seem a little bit dated. But that said, Scooby Doo should be dated. It's 1963 or so, and yet
Brilliant.
absolutely love Scooby Doo.
Excellent.
Yeah, so there you are. But yeah, I'm glad you went a little bit nostalgic because those Saturday morning cartoons when we were growing up, that was the thing.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. Like, it was clever of TV executives at the time because kids they would wake up at like 6 o'clock and then the parents want to sleep in.
Yes.
But now there's something for them to watch on Saturday morning.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Pity the TV was in my mom's bedroom.
Was that so she could watch pornography with her lovers?
I think so. There's another reference to Ryan's mom, Melkbos. Shame.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that I grew up in Melkbos. I grew up in Vereniging,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
pornography was harder to come by, but she managed just fine.
No, then back when we were kids, you had to find pornography by looking in holes in the forest. That's where like most of the pornography was being stored. Was in like nooks and crannies and holes in the trees in the forests. And then we had this. Of course, every school's got this. We had a guy. His name was Adrian Wong, and Adrian Wong was a year older than everyone else
Yeah.
because he'd failed a year.
Yeah.
But Adrian Wong had a locker full of pornography, just
Amazing.
full of it. I don't know how he got it, like so much pornography, because this was still like the tail end of apartheid. You know?
Yeah.
Like, this was the last year, the dying breaths.
And you
of
wonder,
apartheid.
like, where's your dad? Does he know that? What? How did you? What the hell?
Yeah, no, it's possible Adrian Wong's dad
He's got
was
this
helping
older
him.
cousin in the army, and he.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at our school it was Adrian Wong. I'm sure at your school it was someone else. But then we got high tech after that because that was all still classic magazines. After that, it was hard disk, floppy disks, stiffy disks is what they called them. But
Yeah.
I wanted to avoid using the word stiffy.
Nice.
That we shared. We'd be like, you can have the stiffy disk. You can have the stiffy disk this week, but I need it back by the end of the week because. I'll need it.
Oh no! It's put a virus
And
on
then
the
you have
stuffy.
to, yeah.
You put a virus on my
Yeah,
stuffy.
I mean, you were supposed to copy it onto your home computer, but the thing is, then we didn't each have our own computer. Like each family member didn't have their own computer.
No.
Like then there was one family computer. It was the one that like your mom used for her work, and your brother used for his assignments. Can't just see. :// copy star.star put this in a directory because everything was very obvious. You couldn't hide stuff back then. There was no Yeah.
These days, flippin' hell.
Yeah, these days, our friend Ngoba has got an app on his phone. Shout out Ngoba, which is like, it looks like a calculator, and when you touch it, it's a calculator. It operates like a calculator, but if you type in a specific code, like a specific theorem, then it unlocks and it reveals all the hidden stuff, all the hidden apps and
My
photos and
word.
pornography and stuff. So now, yes, it's just because you're going through your husband's phone doesn't mean he's not having an affair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You watch for that calculator.
You look out for the calculator and try to guess.
And look on Facebook, Nobba was twerking after he drank a milkshake.
Ngoba.
Who wants to have a crack first? I'm terribly excited.
I think it's me. I think it's my
Do
turn
it.
to go first. Yeah, I'll start with something slightly intellectual, given the topic. Yeah, originally developed by the Walt Disney Company in 1945, a short film called Destino was put on ice due to a lack of money for 58 years before finally being released in 2003. And my fact is that this unusual circumstance happened because it's a cartoon devised, written, and animated by Walt Disney himself.
Jeepers.
Yeah.
Destino.
Destino is what it's called.
Is it a short one?
Yeah. It's short. 7 minutes. That's how long it is.
So the reason is because it was by Walt himself.
Yeah, so what happened is he was producing it after the war, but they had no money. They had the Walt Disney Company had no money at that stage. So any projects that were considered kind of superfluous or passion projects or whatever were all put on ice with the intention that they would come back to them. And obviously most of them they never came back to them. But this one, then more recently, they discovered this project. Some of it had already been created, but most of it was in storyboards. And they decided to complete it because it was written, storyboarded, animated, the works by Walt Disney himself.
Wow. Destino. I wonder if it means the stone.
I think it's got to do with destiny, probably, right?
Tickled him sitting in his naughty Cornell teats.
No, he's probably just giggling at like
He's probably watching
like a banana or
porn.
something.
Yeah.
He's probably watching porn.
A funny scene in a pornography.
Yeah.
So disruptive. Well, she would giggle sometimes late at night, but I don't know.
No, we're not talking about. We can't hear Deets. We need to get Deets a microphone so he can talk to us. People can hear him.
Yes. Yeah, he mentioned my mum.
All right, so Destino, created, storyboarded, animated by Walt Disney
I like
himself.
the way you've delivered it in its narrative. I like the story and I want it to be true, so I'm going to say it is true.
Are you sure?
Mm.
You're going for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, most of that is true, but it wasn't written, storyboarded, and animated by Walt Disney. It was written, storyboarded, and animated by Salvador Dali.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually more impressive.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
It must be very beautiful.
So
I mean, in his style, he's got that kind of curvy, simplistic thing going.
Well, that strange surrealist style. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a 7-minute short, and it follows the story of Kronos. and
Not
his
not a stone. Destino.
No, no.
Destino. It's Destino.
I know that's what I thought as well.
It's a stone.
First.
It's
But
just,
no.
just a stone.
It's about Kronos, who falls in love with a mortal woman named Dahlia. And basically, the story is just Dahlia dancing through all these surreal scenes inspired by Dali's paintings.
Gee.
And there's no dialogue, but the soundtrack includes music by Mexican composer Armando Dominguez. And there's 17 seconds of footage that was originally created by Dali and his team. Still in that 7 minutes. Everything else comes off the storyboard. But that's, if you watch it, it's 17 seconds that involve the tortoises. The two tortoises, those are the original Dali team created those.
Wow.
And the rest is just created off of the storyboard. But yeah, that's what it is.
I love him because,
Beautiful moustache.
like his style.
Epic moustache.
Yes, and he also he's got this very simplistic version of Dante and Beatrice. Dante's Inferno, and it was his unrequited young love of his youth. But they just embrace in a very tragic way. Simple, with his use of curvy
Salvador
lines.
Dali.
Yeah.
Salvador Dali. Yeah, okay. Because all the Salvador Dalis I know are the animals with the really extended legs and the very strange kind of
No, there's
highly
definitely
colourful, over the top. Yeah.
No, there's a Dante and Beatrice one of his as well.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, that's really beautiful. And speaking of Walt Disney, The Little Mermaid. I'm kidding. Was it Walt Disney? No, it wasn't.
It was.
It was Walt Disney.
It was Walt Disney.
The Little Mermaid is one of my favorites of all time. Still.
Yeah.
And one of the...
Ariel's still the second hottest princess, as far as I can tell. She's still the second hottest.
Well, who's
Jasmine's the hottest one.
Where's she from?
And I'll say it, Deeds. Thanks. It's
Thanks.
Aladdin, yeah.
Okay, okay, Jasmine, yeah. Ariel's cool. I think I like the little clam cup.
And then third is Maid Marian from Robin Hood, and that is a thing that no man should admit in public because she's a fox, a literal fox. It's not that she's attractive; it's that she's a fox.
Yeah, she's a fox, eh?
She's a fox, eh? Yes, you're like kite.
I don't know if I've seen that one. Robin Hood, where Maid Marian is a fox.
Yeah, with Robin Hood, all the characters.
Was it a
are
full-length
animals.
feature?
All the characters are animals. Yeah. Yeah, it's a full Disney movie.
From when?
1960s.
Oh. Huh. Wow. So.
Oh, listen. Judge me now, but go and have a look at Maid Marian. She's anybody who says that Private Hops in what's that movie? The bunny policeman.
Oh, I don't have that. Well, I've got a Who Framed Roger Rabbit coming up.
Oh,
soon.
you see, yeah, no. But if anybody says these are not attractive, I don't know why we do that thing. Yeah. Why are they making the lion look sexy? You know, why does Nala, like when Nala looks at Simba?
Oh, right.
Every man in the movie house went. Why are they doing that, Ryan? Why are they making the animals so attractive? I promise you, everyone's like, oh, yes, it's these weirdos, eh? They dress up like furries. I can tell you where it comes from. It's Walt Disney's fault.
Oh, furries is a thing.
Yeah.
We never
we're not
we never touched on that in our sex episode, did we?
We didn't. But what I'm saying is they're drawing these animals unnecessarily attractively, is all I'm saying. But Jasmine's the hot one, and then Ariel, the Little Mermaid.
Yes.
Even though she's half fish.
Yeah. Half fish.
Half fish, yeah.
So here's my fact about the Little Mermaid. This is a lovely, lovely fact. It had not one but two songs nominated for Best Original Song at the Academy Awards. And another little fact about that is they were both performed by the same singer.
Why am I having like flashbacks here? Why do I feel like we've discussed this before?
We may have, but not in this context.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So you're saying two songs nominated? No, we have discussed this before.
Do you think?
Yeah, we have. I'm sure we have. Have we discussed this before?
We may have.
Yeah, where it's Under the Sea wins the award.
Yes. Has that come up before?
I feel like it's come up somewhere.
Okay,
somewhere in my life. I'm having, what's that thing called? Where you feel like you've
Deja vu.
Deja vu.
Deja vu.
Yeah, I mean, they say that that's a misfiring between the hemispheres of the brain.
Brilliant.
So it could be a misfiring between the hemispheres of the brain. It could be a thing that's happened to me before.
It's the dumbest book title I've ever saw is Deja Dead. Means already dead. Because deja vu simply means already seen. Deja dead. Ooh, femme fatale. Deja dead. Fuck off.
I sometimes think that our social working system in this country isn't strong enough.
Yeah?
You know, they should have picked you up years ago.
No, it's not. It's failing.
It's failing. There should have been signs. Teachers should have written in things. The courts should have documentation.
They should have, yeah.
But they haven't.
What about HR? HR could have picked this up.
HR.
It's failed in all my places of employment.
That's right. HR definitely. I think every time you leave, they've got this fat file that they go, well, we'll never need this again, and they throw it in the bin, and then the next lot have to start a new file. Yeah, listen. So
So
it's two songs
two
sung by the
songs.
same person.
Yeah, nominated for the Academy Award, best song.
Okay, well, yeah. I feel the last time you tried to con me and make me believe it was, or was it you? Maybe it was somebody else. I can't. The deja vu is very strong at the moment. I mean, I'm calling it deja vu because I don't want to mention the fact that I'm halfway through a beer already and we're only in the second question. Yeah, all right. Two songs were nominated for the same thing. Like, who's going to go up against them?
Well, it's true. It is true. So well done to you. It was Under the Sea is Sebastian the Crab. And he sang another one which was nominated for an Oscar. The same. Do you know the other song that Sebastian sang?
No.
Kiss the Girl.
Kiss
Kiss the Girl. Sing with sha la 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 la. Don't be scared. You're gonna lose your head. Go on and kiss the girl. Whoa whoa. Beautiful. It's when the prince is about to kiss Ariel.
Right.
Yeah, it's very. But my favorite song from Little Mermaid wasn't nominated, but it's "Poor Unfortunate Soul" that the witch sings when Ariel does a deal with the devil,
Right.
so to speak. And if you listen to The Lion King, which is the music was okay. Little Mermaid's still the best.
I don't know. Hey, like the Lion King is. My son's seen the
look,
Lion King
the
2
intro
dozen times.
is glorious. I know the intro is glorious. It's lovely. But
no, hang on. You're going to tell me that Be Prepared is not a banger.
hey,
Be
it's
Prepared
exactly
is a banger.
Oh no. This is my point exactly.
Okay.
Little Mermaid was before The Lion King.
Uh-huh.
You've got to listen to Poor Unfortunate Soul, and then you'll know where Be Prepared came from. Poor Unfortunate Soul is much, much better than Be Prepared.
So the thing is, musicals run a formula, right? There's a formula. So. There's the hero has their "I Want" song.
Yes.
Then then there's the "I Need" thing, or then there's the bad guy declares their intention song.
Yes.
Be Prepared is and Poor Unfortunate.
Same.
They both fill that bad guys. Yeah, that role about this is why the shit is gonna hit the fan. That's that role, that song. And you can see it. I mean, particularly, it's become very like big formulaic with the Frozen movies. You can see it particularly like here is the "I Want," the "I Need." This is the yearning song, and this is the big adventure song. This is the
Yeah, that's true.
So it's possible that these things do fulfill similar roles, but
Be
Jeremy
prepared.
Irons crushed it.
He did crush it.
And Be Prepared is a banger. It's a banger. And I don't care.
It is.
Yeah.
But Poor Unfortunate Soul, go back and listen to that.
And then, okay, listen, I saw The Little Mermaid once, many years ago.
Wonderful.
And then I started to look at fried fish dinners a little bit differently. Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
the French chef, Le Poisson, Le Poisson.
I'd better not watch any more Ariel because I'm finding myself attracted to my dinner.
She's read it, eh?
Yeah,
Ariel.
But anyway, the point is
there's many points here.
The point is that Little Mermaid is fine. The Lion King is where it's at. Ooh. We should have a poll in the comments.
Me.
Lion
King versus Little Mermaid.
I think it's a comfortable victory for Lion King.
I don't think so.
I think in 2019, Lion King, the new remade version,
Beyonce, Queen Bee,
was like the number one selling movie in this country.
Yeah, okay. No, but okay.
It's only one
of
them.
The original Lion King,
one
original Little Mermaid, which is the better.
Only one of them transitioned to be an award-winning West End musical.
Okay, yes. But did you know The Little Mermaid's going to be made into a 3D thing soon? I think it's launching in the next year.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It's going to be good. I'm going to go watch it. So Sebastian the Crab sang both those. Kiss the Girl, Under the Sea. Samuel E. Wright was the name of the actor. African-American, beautiful voice. He also was Mufasa in the theater version of The Lion King.
Yeah, you see.
But now, think about the 1989 Academy Awards. You had film. I just want to stay in the 80s for a bit. Because the last year, the 80s.
Let's do it.
You had films nominated with Born on the 4th of July, My Left Foot, Glory, Dead Poet Society, some real bangers. But if you think about the winner for the Oscar for Best Original Song during the 80s, so there's, 10 years in the 80s, man. man. You got Fame.
Oh, for the
Fame.
best song in the
Yeah,
whole of the
81.
80s.
Then you had, no, but every year, like
Oh.
Fame. Then you had Arthur's theme. If you get caught between the moon and New York. These songs are still so super huge today. Up Where We Belong is one of the best duets of all time. From doesn't matter, but Flashdance. No,
Where's
I just called to say I love you. Say you, say me. Take my breath away. I've had the time of my life. Dirty. I mean, the songs are huge. And then Let the River Run. Under the Sea is amongst those greats. Yeah, those were the 80s. The music is unbelievable.
We're gonna have to do musicals at some point. I think there's too much tension on this.
Beautiful.
Anyway, all right, I'm gonna go straight into 80s nostalgia. Given that you lured me there.
Yes.
So do you remember? And we discussed this at some point before. When they made a bunch of cartoon series out of popular movies.
Oh.
Yeah. So the one I'm specifically
think of
leading
that.
you to is the Ghostbusters.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was controversy because there was two versions.
Right.
Then there was one called themselves the real Ghostbusters. They had a monkey, a gorilla.
Right.
part
Well,
of the
I'm
plan.
actually I'm going to talk about the real Ghostbusters cartoon series. So in the Ghostbusters world, what they call the official kind of Ghostbusters canon.
Ah?
Yeah, the cartoon series is real, but the first movie is fake. That's my fact.
You're in the universe, eh? The
Yeah,
Ghostbusters canon.
Yeah, you're gonna talk about
Like
the
the way
story.
you
What's
called
the internal story?
Shucks, I have no idea. But I even though I knew it wasn't from the movie, I liked the they called it Let's Go. The song was even different. Let's go, Ghostbusters, let's go, let's go, let's go. And that had the gorilla as part of the team. And I think he liked bananas as well. And he just always like squeezed the banana and it just popped out.
It's racist against monkeys, that though, because
Probably.
gorillas actually shouldn't eat bananas. They've got too much sugar in them.
Really?
Bad for them. Yeah.
They must stick to more sort of cellulose, high fiber.
Yeah. More like a natural plantain, rather.
What I did love was, I don't think, then the one based on the movie had Slimer, the ghost. Slimer. And I'll never forget this one scene from the movie. It made me piss myself. I would tell it to friends for years. But it's like, there's a black dude in the Ghostbusters team. And his dad comes in the episode, and he's like, "Hey, Dad, meet Slimer. Slimer, meet my dad." And he goes, "Hi, my dad." It's just very cool because you thought it was his name, Slimer, the little slime ghost.
You know that Slimer didn't have a name until I think the cartoon series.
But he was in the movie.
Yeah, he was in the movie, but he didn't have a name. I think it was the cartoon series that gave him a name.
Yeah, I'm gonna say your fact is true, that they kind of, the Star Wars thing, the story just kind of
here's what happened.
different parts.
You're absolutely right. Here's what happened in the episode called Take Two from season 1. The Ghostbusters go to Hollywood, and in Hollywood they visit the movie set of a movie being made based on their adventures. And then at the end of the episode, it turns out that what the movie they're filming is the 1984 live-action Ghostbusters, which means obviously that makes the real Ghostbusters real, and the movie fake. So the movie, yeah.
I think that cartoon series. So they just called it the Ghostbusters. There must have been naming issues, but the Ghostbusters, which wasn't based on the movie, was just called the Ghostbusters, and then the real Ghostbusters was the one. It was probably a registration thing first.
I think they probably changed the
Copywriting
title song as well, because that Ghostbusters,
Love that song.
it
Ooh, I love that song.
got found to be quite plagiarized. It got stolen quite a lot, and a lot of the rights were given away on that.
Jeez.
So there's a chance that may be one of the reasons why they had to change the song for the cartoon.
Well, I'm staying with lovely 80s stuff.
Okay, good.
Straight bang into Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I mean,
Amazing.
I've
And,
still
and
gotta-
talking about,
I've still
talking
gotta
about
watch it
sexy
again.
cartoon characters.
Yeah, wasn't she? Though she was. What was she? Was she human?
I think so.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, listen,
wow.
also, Bugs Bunny's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Hotter than necessary, Disney.
Goodness me.
You like honestly, like you took impressionable 6-year-olds and you went, look at this sexy bunny. Look at it for a few years and then grow up normal. We dare you.
I mean, who was the animator? Sigmund Freud?
Yeah, we didn't stand a chance. We didn't stand a chance. But I look at a big-eyed bunny today. I'm like,
Furry girl. So my fact about Who Framed Roger Rabbit was Steven Spielberg's first foray into animation as a director, into part animation as a director, and that's my fact.
oh, so what you say? So the trick is the word first. I think you're saying it's the first.
Director.
No. His first foray
Yeah.
into animation.
Mm.
I think that's where the trickery's coming in. I mean, let's be honest. Like, so Steven Spielberg's done some of the coolest stuff we ever watched, right? Like, and then he teamed up with George Lucas of Star Wars fame and did Indiana Jones, and I mean, really, is that his first foray into animation? Was he involved at all? Who knows? I'm gonna take a wild stab in the dark, and say it was.
All right. Well, it is sort of a tricky fact, so it's false. I'm lying, because I did say the word director, and it was Robert Zemeckis. He's a well-known director. He directed it. However, the Amblin were involved as a collaboration in the animation, but not Steven himself, but Amblin, which and of course Steven then created DreamWorks and stuff, which has done wonderful animated movies.
It's such an interesting movie, that film, because they managed to bring together a bunch of different cartoon creators all in the same movie. So you get characters from Warner Brothers and characters from like Hanna-Barbera, or and they bring them all in, and they're all in the same thing, which had never happened before. There'd never been this kind of crossover dynamic between the different groups.
No, and from what I'm remember is it was quite a beautiful story, quite a clever story. It was very well received, especially for its story. It was Hollywood in the 1940s, and the tunes are becoming obsolete, and so there's a bit of their whole town is a bit rough, a bit of a slum toon town, and sort of a lot of alcohol and that sort of thing, and very charming story, very, very, very charming.
But a lot of people talk about Never Ending Story, and the bit where the horse gets sinks into the swamp as being like
Treyu.
Yeah, Treyu's the boy, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, I think so. And then but where the horse then sinks into the swamp as being like a seminal moment of trauma in their lives.
Sure.
But for me, it's the moment in Roger Rabbit where he dips the shoe into the the screaming shoe doesn't want to go into the oil and get boiled, and then he dips it in the damn thing and the shoe dies.
Because
Horrific.
It's basically like paint thinners. It's like shit.
Yeah. So when people are like, "Oh, what scarred you as a child?" Like, I'm like, well, in many ways, Walt Disney has clearly scarred me, but what scarred me negatively, I think, is the shoe in the paint thinners.
Yeah.
With this kind of Nazi SS officer
right.
feeding this
because then it became about the others, and we must get rid of the others merely because they are different to us. Very good. But I do think his first actual go at animation was only, as a director, was only Tintin, which I haven't seen. But is that proper animation, or is it?
No.
Is it not animation?
No, I think it's a live action thing.
But Tintin, the movie.
There is a live action
Tintin. From a few years ago, actually.
Yeah, there is a live action Tintin, I would assume.
So is that live? It's not animation.
I don't think so. I haven't seen it.
But it's like, I think it's 3D stuff, animation. I don't think it's live action. I gotta watch it because I like Tintin.
We're just guessing now.
But that was Steven Spielberg.
I'm gonna take you a couple years ahead to 1992. And my fact is this: a lot of people have won awards for being the Joker, Batman's nemesis. But nobody is remembered more fondly for doing the Joker than Mark Hamill, who obviously played Luke Skywalker in the Star Wars movies. And my thing is that he played the Joker for longer than any other person in the history of the character.
Well. Because this is cartoons, he must have been the voice of the Joker in a cartoon thing of Batman.
Yeah, and as I say, it's
that's
a
what you're
1992 series. It's Batman series, the animated series.
Oh,
And because of that, Mark Hamill has played Joker longer than anybody else. That's my
wow.
fact, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know he was the voice of the Joker. If indeed he was, and he played it long. He played the Joker longer than anybody else.
Yeah, Mark Hamill, who was Luke Skywalker.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
I've no reason to doubt that fact. That's interesting. The Joker. He read an audiobook once that I listened to. The Spiderwick Chronicles. Do you know that little children's
Yeah, it's a
thing?
children's
Yeah,
book,
he read the audiobook. Not very well, I gotta tell you, but he did read the movie's very good. Very, very, very good. Okay, I'm gonna say it's true. He played the Joker longer than anybody else because he voiced it in the 1992 series.
So here's the thing. He voiced it in the 1992 series, and he's still voicing the Joker today.
Really?
In basically everything that happens. Yeah, he's played the Joker for more than 30 years now.
Shit.
From 1992 now to 2023. So he's properly the Joker. He did try and retire once. He did the video game Arkham City, and then he retired. And another actor by the name of Troy Baker played the Joker in Arkham. I think Arkham Origins is what it's called. And then they lured. And apparently he did a very good job, this Troy Baker. But they lured Mark Hamill back to do Arkham Knights, which is the third game in the series, for which he then won a bunch of awards. But yeah, Mark Hamill's like a definitive Joker. And the interesting thing about this, and this is the actual, I suppose, interesting fact, the thing that people may not know, is that the role was supposed to go to Tim Curry originally.
Wow.
So it was supposed to go to Tim Curry. Tim Curry, for whatever reason, couldn't do it, and Mark Hamill has now grabbed it and had 30 years worth of work out of it.
I love that. I love how I just love those stories. Say you never quite reach those heights again of your career. It doesn't matter. Just keep going at your craft. Keep doing it. Keep doing what you love. And it's like such a beautiful.
It's such an interesting story how he got the role, though, because for a year before he went to go and audition, he was doing the musical Amadeus, which was based on the movie, the 1980s movie Amadeus.
Yes.
Yeah, so there was a musical Amadeus, and he was doing that. He was playing the role of Amadeus on Broadway. And obviously, if you remember Amadeus from the movie, he's got that crazy kind of laugh.
Yes.
Yeah, and so Mark Hamill said he took that laugh with him to the audition and did it for the Joker. And then he got he said he felt like he left the audition and felt like he'd really nailed the audition. And he didn't hear anything for a few weeks.
Because it's a crazy laugh.
Yeah,
from
it's just
Amadeus.
like
Yeah.
And then they called him back eventually, and he had the part. So there you are.
That's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you spoke about this starting in the 90s, in 1992.
Yeah.
And it was around that time that we were supposed to hop in a car and get driven to school in primary school. But if you were early enough and you were all ready before you hopped in the car, you could catch the Good Morning South Africa
At
cartoon.
5 to 7, yes,
No,
that's
just
right.
Grab the cartoon before. But you
Before
had
the
to be
news,
ready.
yeah, because the news was at 7 as well, though.
And they
So you
literally
had to
said,
be-
all the children, it's time for you to gather a little closer
Yeah.
around the TV set because we've got a... And I do recall Pepe Le Pew being one of those cartoons occasionally.
Ah, the rapey skunk.
Exactly. He
Rapey Le Pew.
yes. So it's and he was always after a girl who wasn't a skunk, was she?
No, she was
No.
a cat. She was
Yes.
a catcher, and who accidentally walked under paint or something and got a stripe painted on her back.
So she looked like a skunk.
So she looked
that,
like a skunk.
there's a
Yeah.
skunk.
Ah, let's skunk.
Yeah.
and then basically he exhibited toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
What Gen Xers would call toxic masculinity for the next 7 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever it was. Yeah, I mean, and commit cat rape, like right there on our TV. Right. Children, gather around, children, gather around. You finished watching people dancing and doing the exercises in the leotards. Come, body beat. Remember body beat?
Body beat, boy. So sometimes it's a guy who led in his leotard. Okay, everybody, let's.
No, that didn't happen during apartheid.
That did?
No.
Telling you there was a
no, there was, and he had an afro even. He had a perm. I remember him. But then they would be like, everybody gather around and watch a skunk rape a cat. Watch a skunk rape a cat for 5 minutes. I love that they made the skunk French. They were like, if you're going to get sexually assaulted by any nationality, it's the French. That's who's going to
he was very French because a lot of the scenes were like Arc de Triomphe, Eiffel Tower. The one time he was a French soldier in Algeria, but it was always very French. And her name was Penelope Pussycat.
Was it the same cat every time?
Penelope
I just
Pussycat.
always assumed it was a different cat, that he was just going around
stalker,
committing mass. Yeah,
he was, and she would, when she was running away from him. This is my favorite part. This made me hose every time. She's running away from him, and then when she's thought she's escaped, and then she'd breathe and go, "Le pants, le pants." Le pants. But my fact is, critics or commentators have said he's Pepe Le Pew is a narcissist. That's my fact.
He's he's been psychoanalyzed. Yeah, it's like people love to psychoanalyze a cartoon.
Shame.
Like they love that, like Eeyore is depressive.
Depressed, eh?
Yeah. Like people are like convinced that all the characters from Winnie the Pooh exhibit some kind of mental illness.
Yeah, and is it that who's got one of them is the 7 deadly sins, or was that more like
is that
SpongeBob
another theory?
SquarePants? Yeah.
Is that another theory? Yeah, no. I mean, but people love to psychoanalyze a cartoon character. Like they aren't just there as an attempt to try and make us laugh. Like of course the character is a narcissist, or like because it is that thing that we've taken that one human trait and
you've exploded
stretched it
yes.
to ridiculous levels, and that's exactly what like these sorts of mental illnesses are, is that taking one part of human existence and stretching it out there. So yeah, I mean he could be a narcissist. I don't know. I mean, aren't narcissists quite specifically like they operate in a way where he's not really a narcissist, he's more like an obsessive or a compulsive, or maybe just delusional. I don't know, because I mean, wouldn't you have to be manipulating the cat? He doesn't really manipulate the cat. He just tries to fuck it against a rubbish bin, like he doesn't. Yeah, he's not like, oh baby, I'll give you the world. I love you so much. I mean, he's love bombing her, right? He's definitely
there you go, love bombing.
He's definitely love bombing her. So that's a narcissistic trait.
Love bombing her.
No, he's just a rapist, I reckon.
And she can't take the stench.
No, of course he's a skunk.
Shame. It turns out that it's true. Commentators have said that Pepe Le Pew is
who are these commentators?
Wikipedia. Pepe just.
You can pretty much edit Wikipedia to say whatever, right? Like I could just go there and be like, no, he's an oversexed rapist. That's what he is. Like he's not.
But I like their reasoning. Pepe describes Penelope as lucky to be the object of his affections,
I see.
and uses a romantic paradigm to explain his failures to seduce her. For example, he describes a hammer blow to his head as a form of flirtation. Rather than rejection. Accordingly, he shows no sign of narcissistic injury or loss of confidence, no matter how many times he is rebuffed.
No,
Pepe.
true.
Fuck, Pepe.
And, I mean, it might just be because he's a fucking cartoon character. I mean, I don't want to diss anybody's doctoral thesis here. But I'm convinced that it's got more to do with the fact that he's a cartoon rapist.
Sure.
You know.
But you think about something like, who'd you want as a friend? I think Bugs Bunny is quite wise.
I think he would use you. I think he'd make jokes about you. People be laughing. You wouldn't understand why.
Yeah, but he wouldn't try and shag you even if you'd said no thanks.
No, I mean, Bugs Bunny is a woman rabbit, though, right? Warner Brothers was in on this whole scheme to make us perverts as well.
Remember the sort of young ones and not the young ones, there was a TV show, but they had a version of them being younger, and even the
Tiny Toons.
The girl duck was quite a thing. Daffy Duck's
like baby.
No, no, not that young. No, not Tiny Toons. No, there was another one.
Thank goodness.
My stepdaughter used to.
Listen, I'll talk about fucking an adult animal. But I draw the line.
Used to watch it.
You sick pervert.
And it was hysterical because she was very. Either the bunny or the girl duck was very like blonde, legally blonde.
No, but do you remember what's the movie Space Jam, where there's the girl bunny in there?
Oh,
she's a belter, but.
And so yes, Peppy was problem. Peppy's a problem.
Yeah, no, he definitely is. All right, so speaking of sexy.
Ooh.
Speaking of sexy, Donald Duck never wears any pants.
Yeah.
But that's not what my fact is about. It is about Donald Duck. But the fact that he didn't wear any pants got him banned in Finland, right? They were like, we're not putting up with this.
Finnish people at a temptation.
Put your fucking pants. You know, when I think about it, so the first episode of Thundercats, they were all naked in Thundercats, like in the first episode. And then they crash land on what happens to be Earth in the future, and then they all wear clothes.
Chitara, remember her?
That's right. And then they all wear clothes for the rest of the thing. There's no nipples, but you can see clear, like, nudity. They're all naked. They're all wearing no clothes in the opening of Thundercats.
Shite.
Right, so they're naked. Donald Duck, no fucking pants. Winnie the Pooh, no pants. What is going on with these guys? You know, the only reason that these cartoons wore gloves was because it made it easier to draw their hands. Because they were drawing so many frames, you had to draw so many frames, and having the gloves just meant you could be a bit clumsy.
Oh, sure.
With the drawing, yeah.
Shame. Yes, as they had to work their butts off, eh?
I mean, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Why aren't they wearing pants? Working the butts off. Why don't they actually see Winnie the Pooh's asshole?
Why? So big on the big screen.
So big. Yeah, look, that's what your mom could have been watching. But yeah, so Donald Duck's middle name is Fauntleroy.
Oh man, Fauntleroy.
Fauntleroy.
No, DuckTales. Wasn't Donald part of the DuckTales family? Scrooge McDuck. Wasn't Donald?
He was. I mean,
he made an appearance somewhere.
He was an uncle. Yeah, he was an uncle.
And he sometimes popped
to Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Yeah, and he popped in the episodes.
He did occasionally. Yeah.
So
his name isn't just Donald Duck though; it's Donald Fauntleroy Duck.
So Scrooge is Scottish. So Donald, the Duck family are Scottish.
Right. So you're trying to say is Fauntleroy not?
I'm wondering if it is Scottish. Fauntleroy. Wow. I'm sure it's something formal and historic. Fauntleroy, Donald Fauntleroy Duck. I'm sure I've actually heard his middle name in one of the shows once, but I don't think it was Fauntleroy. No, he's got a seriously formal middle name, but I don't think it's Fauntleroy. I'm going to say the fact is false.
I feel like the name Fauntleroy has dropped off in popularity since 1942 episode Donald Gets Drafted, in which we see his full name written on his draft papers. Donald Fauntleroy Duck.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's true.
Was it never referred to again since 1942?
No, that's where we find out his name is Donald Fauntleroy Duck. Apparently, Fauntleroy is like a name for part of his sailor's outfit or something. So there's a kind of link there. But yeah,
yes, that's hysterical. So once, where did you find that bloody fact? Bloody
1942 episode. Donald Gets Drafted. I watched every single episode. I was like, let me find something.
Fauntleroy.
Yeah.
1942. Um, well, and that was just an episode.
Yeah.
If we jump forward,
Like 100 years.
No, only 9 years. There was a splendid full-length animated feature, Alice in Wonderland. It's still one of my favorites. I think Little Mermaid, Alice in Wonderland, Hoodwinked. What a bloody movie! Ratatouille. Oh, love these.
Alice in Wonderland was what, the third one? Was it the third movie? Because it was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and then it was
I've got
Cinderella.
to watch that.
Then it was Cinderella.
Was it
Yeah.
Cinderella? Was
Yeah,
it any
and then-
good? Was it good?
I mean, these were regarded as classics.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
No, but
And then was it Alice in Wonderland? It could have been Alice in Wonderland.
the music is beautiful from Alice in Wonderland, and that leads me to a fact in that the appearance of the Cheshire Cat. Do you know the Cheshire Cat
Yes,
character?
yes.
He appears and disappears. Inspired a very well-known Beatles song. That's my fact.
Yeah, why not? I mean, it seems like the kind of thing that might. I have no reason to doubt that that's the case.
Well, I can tell you, John Lennon was a huge fan of.
Drugs.
Yes.
Yeah, what he loved was drugs. Old John Lennon. He was if he could go somewhere and have drugs, that was a big plus for him.
And also the guy who wrote Alice in Wonderland.
Lewis Carroll.
Yes, loved him. And the caterpillar who smokes a lot of hubbly.
Yeah.
He like confuses language. Who are you? You know, and he would put words.
Yeah.
He'd swap words around. Are you? And then they'd sometimes spell it out in his hubbly smoke. And that's where he was the one who played with words like love me, do, and please me. You know, he got that kind of inspiration from Lewis Carroll as a kid. He loved that sort of thing. But it wasn't, the fact is wrong, it wasn't the Cheshire Cat. It was the scene with Tweedledum and Tweedledee and Alice in Wonderland. And they tell her a story of the walrus and the carpenter.
Yes.
And it's the time has come, my little friends, to talk of other things, of shoes and ships and sealing wax, cabbages and kings. And while the sea is boiling hot and where the pigs have wings, Callooh Calais will run away with cabbages and kings. And then they eat the oysters. But the walrus is where he got the inspiration for
I am
the walrus. Everyone was like, oh, is it from the devil? Is it from the... No, it's from Alice in Wonderland. It's not from the devil. The walrus is... But it's also from a few... apparently it's from a few acid trips, plus... a few acid trips, plus the Alice in Wonderland movie. I am the walrus.
Yeah, look, I am the walrus. You didn't watch Alice in Wonderland not on drugs to assume that you were the character.
Makes you think, was Lewis Carroll taking weird mushroom type things?
Almost certainly.
Gee whiz.
Almost certainly. The whole thing
my
feels...
word.
I mean, the thing about... Have you read the original Alice in Wonderland?
I think I should.
When you read it, it's very much a dream. It feels like you're asleep.
Wow.
And it's such a... Yeah, it's...
Because things go crazy.
Yeah,
eh?
the writings... And then the way things suddenly change from one scene to the next. And you're kind of... You know, from one minute she's crying, and then the water starts washing up and washing up.
That's
and washing
right.
up. And then suddenly she's floating...
Yes.
in a sea, and all the animals are washing by her in their own
Yeah.
boats and whatever, and then suddenly the sea's gone and they're on the beach. And I mean, it's just the way that it's written reminds you very much of a dream. So Lewis Carroll was either very in touch with, you know, how he dreams and remembers dreams and how to describe dreams and this sort of thing, or he was taking a lot of something.
Yeah, and when you speak like that, it makes me think of sometimes in a dream, what's very frustrating is that you lose control of something that you should be able to do. Like if there's danger, I should just be able to run that way, but
Right.
I can't because my feet are stuck in a big bowl of porridge. And if
Yeah,
only I could, and if you think about the Mad Hatter's tea party, you know, they can never pour a cup of tea.
Yes, and
I
the
mean, I
rules
just
are very
want
arbitrary.
a
We
cup
have to
of
suddenly
tea, but
swap spaces, and then we have to go. Yeah,
yeah. Oh, do you want half a cup of tea? Love that.
but yeah, the whole thing feels very like a dream. If you read the book, it's beautiful. It's amazing because it does literally, like you say, has that strange distance jarring sort of feeling. She'll be walking somewhere and forget where she's going, or why am I here? What am I doing here? And the scene with the Queen of Hearts, where she'll be playing croquet, and the next thing she's drifting off and sort of asleep, and then the Queen is suddenly there in front of her, and it's like things that she felt like the distances between the characters were so bad, and the time was weird, and I mean, yeah, I suppose it's a classic for a reason.
Am I reading too much into it spiritually or even
Yes.
biblically? If I
Yeah,
say
no, definitely.
if I say there's it's like a prodigal son type of metaphor. You leave the comfort of your father's house, and you go off into this crazy thing, which ultimately puts you in tremendous risk. And then you just wake up, Alice, wake up, come back.
But that
come
would
back to
imply
the
that
house.
that's what dreams are, right? So there's
But
no
the analogy,
religious-
maybe she was too curious, because she first follow the white
that's-
rabbit.
I mean, yes. So that
Follow
I think
I
that's
wonder where
the-
this white rabbit goes. And then officer, so don't follow the curiosity of your impulses necessarily, because you might be in big trouble, you prodigal daughter, you. Maybe.
I mean,
Hey,
it's certainly not
there you
prodigal.
go,
It's
hey,
certainly not
hey,
prodigal.
hey.
Listen, believe what you want. I've never tried to make you see the light and step away
Or
from
the
the
dark.
Jesus. Yeah.
Or the dark.
Or the darkness, as you'd prefer to see it. Yeah, are we on to...
Yes,
multiple
I believe we
choice.
are.
All right, so we were talking about the 80s cartoons, and I decided to stick with this theme a little bit. I did have another fact, interestingly, before we dived in there, if you'd like, which is on... So have you watched a lot of Studio Ghibli movies before?
No.
Okay, so Studio Ghibli is like it's a Japanese animation company where one of the founders was Hayao Miyazaki, who's this like unbelievable animator, and just the attention to detail in their movies, just he animates the movement of each blade of grass, kind of thing, and literally, I'm not that's not descriptive, that's what he does, and he kind of broke out to Western audiences when, of all people, Harvey Weinstein, speaking of rapists. Harvey Weinstein, please don't sue us, Harvey
The
Weinstein.
Pepe Le Pew of Hollywood.
Yeah, the Pepe Le Pew of Hollywood, yeah. Yeah. When he decided that he wanted Princess Mononoke, which was a massive smash hit in Japan, he wanted to bring Princess Mononoke to America. And Princess Mononoke is the story of this this warrior woman and her kind of fight for nature against encroaching industrialization. And so Harvey Weinstein was like, well, somebody's got to translate this thing. And my fact is, he contacted Quentin Tarantino. Yeah.
To translate.
To translate the language into English.
The language of Japanese or the language
The
of
language
the
of
stories?
Japanese.
Good
The
lord.
language of Japanese, yeah, to make the story make sense, because there's a lot of like quite Japanese particular things in it that would then have to translate for an English audience, and so to make the story make sense.
Harvey contacted Quentin for an animation.
Yeah.
But it was still centered at children. I was aimed at children.
Yes. Yeah. So Hayao Miyazaki's always said that all of his movies are aimed at children, but they've got quite mature themes. They're not they're not easy for children.
I don't think he contacted Quentin Tarantino. Japanese. Mind you, he did have that
Kill Bill.
Yeah, Kill Bill, yeah.
This might be before Kill Bill. So this is mid-90s. So this is more Pulp Fiction era, more Reservoir Dogs era.
Yeah. No, I don't think he contacted Quentin. No. Fact is false.
The fact is 100% true.
Good lord.
And in fact, Quentin Tarantino said no, he wasn't the right person to do it. And he recommended a little-known author at the time called Neil Gaiman. And Neil Gaiman did the adaptation. But it was to do things like, when one of the characters eats a noodle broth, for example, they say, "Oh, this is watery," which is a great insult in Japan, but
Oh.
not so much. So Neil Gaiman changed it to "This tastes like donkey piss." But so it was that kind of translations of the story, and it became a smash worldwide hit. And in fact, Hayao Miyazaki's next film, because he retired for the first time after Princess Mononoke, but he came back, and his next film, Spirited Away, won the best animated feature, I think 2003 at the Oscars.
Wow. Gee, that's great.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
There you go.
I've got to check it out. Princess
Mononoke, Princess Mononoke, and Spirited Away. They're both beautiful. I mean,
Are they full-length
Studio
features?
Ghibli's got Studio Ghibli's got a lot of movies, but those two are like a really lovely place to dive
Is
in.
Studio Ghibli a Japanese?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, man, that's wonderful. Wonderful. And the style, is it? It's got its own style. It's not. It's not like
it's incredible. So
it's
one
not
of
anime type.
no. So one of Hayao Miyazaki's biggest complaints has always been that with Western animation has always been that Western animation makes nature look unrealistic. So he spends a lot of time making his scenery look incredibly beautiful, and his characters are also never 100% good or evil. They're always somewhere in between. And
Oh, I see.
yeah, no, it's good. It's good
Ambivalence.
stuff, yeah.
Wonderful. Good. Shall I have a crack at the first multiple choice?
Yes, do
then?
it.
That's
Do it.
cool. And I've stayed with definitely with what I enjoyed in the 80s, but this goes to before the 80s, but this was my favorite. I had the LP, Winnie the Pooh. So it was eventually released as a movie, but it was a series of short stories. I think it was called. But the first one was Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree. But then they had a few other adventures, and I think they're called The Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. They made that into a full-length feature, but it really had 3 stories, and it was lovely, wonderfully narrated, and then it followed The Adventures of Pooh.
I remember
and
the
you could
book
feel it
kind
being
of
quite
fell open or something at the
segmented.
beginning, and
Yes.
they took you through the bedroom with the stuffed animals in the bedroom right at the start.
Yes, and
Yeah.
my fact was going to be about the voice artist, because he's worked for Walt Disney for a lot of in a lot of movies. Like, he was also the voice of the snake in the Jungle Book, and I think he appeared somewhere else as another voice. But that Winnie the Pooh voice, but that's not my multiple choice fact. It is around the song called Winnie the Pooh from that movie, The Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Which of these characters is not mentioned in the song? Rabbit, donkey, Tigger, or owl? One of them is not mentioned in the song. I was outraged as a kid. Beautiful song, I love it, and I am going to sing it after his guest.
No, I hope you do. So Tigger was the newcomer, right? And Owl was almost like a lesser character. So if you were gonna skip someone, it would be one of those two, I would guess.
So we got rabbit, donkey, Tigger, owl.
So Donkey's not a character. Donkey's a character from Shrek. Eeyore is the character from.
I meant Eeyore. Okay, that's not a trick question. Thanks for clarifying. Rabbit. Fuck, what's wrong with me? Yes. Rabbit, Eeyore, Tigger. Owl.
Yeah.
Rabbit, Eeyore, Tigger, owl. Good. Well, I'm glad you picked that up. That's amazing.
Ogres are like onions, Donkey.
You're so full of layers, onion man.
Parfait. Parfait is onion. It's got layers. Parfait is delicious.
I'd have to say parfait is some of the most delicious food on the entire planet.
Yeah. That's
Go to sleep, donkey.
Yes, no, that's not Eeyore. Eeyore's more, well, I guess I'll...
Oh, bother.
Oh, bother is Pooh's saying, yeah?
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Oh, bother.
Is it Pooh?
Yeah. He's more like, anyway. So is it Eeyore? Eeyore's also quite a minor character in the stories. It's quite interesting because Eeyore and Owl are relatively minor characters in the actual books. Rabbit is quite a big character. Rabbit and his whole family, and so I'd be surprised if they skipped him. And then, as I say, Tigger is a big character, but he's the newcomer. He's the new one. So if you didn't read the original books, I mean, if you only read the original books and then you wrote a song, maybe you'd skip Tigger. Yeah, so Tigger. Let's leave Tigger off. Let's say Tigger's the one.
You bastard, you! You're a bastard, you! You're right! It was, because it goes, deep in the 100-acre woods where Christopher Robin plays, you'll find the enchanted neighborhood of Christopher's childhood days. A donkey named Eeyore is his friend, and Kanga and Little Roo. There's Rabbit and Piglet, and there's Owl, but most of all, Winnie the Pooh. And I'm like, what the fuck? Where's Tigger?
Right.
Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the
Brilliant.
So, no
Brilliant.
Tigger in that lovely song. I love that song.
But it makes sense because Tigger's arrival is part of the like, oh, he's the new guy.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
the-
Woohoo! Bouncy,
Yeah.
bouncy, bouncy. Yeah. Love that shit.
I,
It wasn't
my
even
son-
on the record.
my
that I
son's
had.
like 3 years old and I'm reading him these stories and I'm doing the woohoo! And he's like, Dad, can you not make that noise? Like, no, but that's how he
I
talks.
think, yeah.
He talks like, oh, how are you, poor boy? You know,
Yeah.
that's like some fucking.
He's definitely ADHD. There we go, psychoanalyzing
Yeah.
some of the cartoons.
Yeah, anyway, but yeah, my 3-year-old told me that
Oh,
woohoo was
Please-
annoying.
Please don't do that, Dad.
Yeah, please don't do that anymore. Okay, I'm gonna stay with 80s stuff. Right, the 1986 Transformers the movie, was very controversial.
This was an animated movie.
Yeah, do you remember it?
No,
So Transformers.
I had a few of the actual toys.
Transformers was essentially two Japanese companies that Hasbro bought out and combined together these kind of transforming toys. And then they decided, looking at the range of transforming toys they had, they would make a story out of it in a TV show. Because that's kind of how they sold stuff in those days. It was, they sold
You said even
He-Man and-
He-Man was like
Yeah, He-Man
toys
was like
first.
yeah, and Transformers was like that. And then they were like, okay, so what kind of toys do we have? We've got a truck and we've got a plane and we've got, these things, and we need to sell these things. That's why Soundwave is just a cassette deck in the original. And then they created this TV show. And the TV show became such a phenomenal success that then they had a movie. And now the movie was designed to shake things up because now they wanted to sell a whole new range of toys. So they were like, okay, well, the TV show is going well. So now the movie is going to come out and it's going to kill a lot of the established characters. Like it was a very controversial decision at the time because it scarred a lot of children. Talking about, the horse in the swamp and
Oh, yeah.
shoe and the thinners. It was one of those occasions. And so what I want to know from you is which of the original hardcore like Transformers was killed off in that movie?
Gee whiz.
Was it Ratchet, Starscream, Bumblebee, or Optimus Prime? Which of those was not killed off? 3 of them were killed off. One of them was not. Was it Ratchet, Starscream, Bumblebee, or Optimus Prime? Only one of them wasn't killed off.
Yeah.
And if you know anything about Transformers at all, you know
No,
that those
just
are
had the figurines.
still the biggest names in
That's crazy.
Transformers.
I'm gonna say Optimus Prime wasn't killed off, and the others were. I didn't know their names, but I know the name Optimus Prime. I've still got to watch those bloody.
I mean, you're
movies.
not even trying. You're not even trying to break this down. You're just picking one
Yeah.
and you're going with it.
Yeah, no, I wasn't that into Transformers. The movie looks impressive, and I still have to watch it.
I mean, you don't really.
Don't I?
I mean,
Look,
it's Transformers. You're an adult now.
yeah.
Move
but
on with your life.
But it
We
looked
watch soap operas now. We
Yeah,
watch
Say
Steven
Twister.
Delan. Yeah,
Yeah.
we watch Say Twister.
good.
Yeah.
Shame Kashifa. She's found out that that the other dude kissed his ex-wife. Slept with her
Spoilers.
on Saint Oyster.
Sorry, spoilers. If you haven't seen it.
Slaap.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Say Twister, just
Sorry.
allow Ryan to wreck it all for you.
Optimus Prime, man. Optimus
Okay,
Prime.
so Optimus Prime definitely died.
Did he? What
yeah.
was he? What was
In fact,
he?
it was the defining moment of upset in the film. Was he got shot a few times by Megatron?
What
He
was he?
falls down. He's the leader of the Autobots. He turns into a truck. He's the leader of the
Truck.
Autobots. He gets
He's a
shot by
truck.
Megatron a few times. He has a big death scene. He turns grey. It's very controversial.
But
He
this is
changes
like
color.
this is before Game of Thrones when they start killing the cast. And
I
stuff.
know. I know. This is exactly what I'm saying.
And it's for children.
That's right. Optimus Prime, like he has this very sad scene where he kind of passes on the mantle of leadership through a thing which is actually called the Matrix of Leadership, and he passes it on to his buddy. Yeah.
The Matrix of Leadership.
Don't laugh at Optimus Prime. You like,
Before the Matrix, there was the Matrix of Leadership.
Dietz, I'm going to ask you to turn the camera off, and I'm going to beat him. Can we do that? Can we just? So Optimus Prime was it was a very beautiful scene. He handed over the Matrix of Leadership to Ultra Magnus, and then he turned grey when he died, and it was tragic. He died. Optimus Prime died. Ratchet, he was shot in the chest right at the start of the movie, because the first thing the movie starts with is a raid on the Autobot base by the Decepticons, and they kill a lot of Autobots. Because obviously they're now trying to sell new toys with the next season, so they're trying to kill off all these characters. So Ratchet, who was their medic, he gets shot right at the start, so he can't now heal any of the others.
It's a horrible movie,
get injured. Yeah. And then Starscream, he's the deputy of the Decepticons, so he's on the other side.
Oh.
And what happens is Megatron gets injured, and Starscream, who's the deputy, Megatron's the leader of the Decepticons. And Starscream takes the opportunity to dump Megatron's body along with all the other bodies out into space. So Megatron kind of vanishes off, and he comes back later with a new name and a new character. And when he comes back, because he comes back as he comes back as Galvatron, I think is his name. Comes back as Galvatron, and he immediately turns Starscream to ash. So Starscream dies. Starscream is replaced. And the one character that doesn't die is Bumblebee, who at the time was a relatively minor character that we didn't really, like, the world didn't really care about. But Bumblebee, over the subsequent decades and through many Transformers properties and TV shows, has become increasingly popular, to the point that he got a big budget solo movie recently called Bumblebee. So he's reached so much popularity that, if he'd been this popular back then, they would have killed him in this movie. But he managed to survive as a minor character because nobody really gave a shit about him.
That's amazing.
Back then, yeah.
Am I reading into it too deeply if I say
if you say he's the prodigal son?
No, I was going to say there's messianic sort of things in Bumblebee.
Turn off the camera, dudes. Turn off the camera.
Bumblebee,
Turn off the camera and pass me my stick.
Yeah, the Ryan religion stick. Yeah.
No, sure. We're going to have an extra 5 minutes of violent beating. Interestingly, that movie, that Transformers 1986, the animated movie, was the last role ever, the last part, by Orson Welles. Like the legendary Orson Welles. It was his last movie. He was Unicron. He was the voice of Unicron. Yeah.
Jeez.
There you go.
Wow. That is a cool fact.
Absolutely tragic.
I watched Citizen Kane just within the last 2 years because I'd never seen it before.
Right.
Don't spoil the plot.
No. Yeah. Rosebud. No, you know what? Speaking of Citizen Kane,
You
I'm
spoiled
surprised...
the plot 3 episodes ago. I'm just saying, don't spoil it again.
Speaking of Citizen Kane, I'm surprised we didn't talk about a little-known show called Davy die Kabouter. You know Davy die Kabouter?
Yes. It wasn't locally produced.
No, it was called David the Gnome.
Davy die Kabouter is much better.
Yeah, and then it was translated into Davy die Kabouter. But do you know that thing had a dark ending? Like, I don't know if you know the ending of that show.
Yeah, it's ringing a bell. Yeah.
So the ending of that show was Davy die Kabouter and they have a friend, and they go off into this field, and they decide, and his wife. He and his wife and this friend of theirs, they go off into this field, and they decide that now is the time for them to, like, end it all. And
Good Lord!
You kind of follow. You remember they had a fox friend.
Yeah.
So you sort of follow their fox friend who leaves them in the field, and you follow him away from the field, and then he changes his mind. No, he can't. And he turns around and he runs back towards the field. And there in the field, he witnesses what happens, and Davy and his wife, David the Gnome, niet Davy die Kabouter. They hug each other and say, "Thank you so much for the love you've given me through my whole life, but it's time now for us to move on." And then they transform into these kind of pink blossom covered, I suppose, apple trees. And then their friend converts into a green tree, and then the last kind of shots are just of. I think there's a bit where they're force ghosts, like Star Wars, appear in front of the trees, and then there's a last shot with the 3 trees next to each other. And that's the end. They shuffle off the mortal coil. They die. This is a children's show. Children's show.
And how could the old South Africa allow that? Look, I know they allowed a lot of horrific things, but how could they allow that as well?
Yeah, on top of all the fucking genocide and the killing and the people being thrown out of did our society survive? Anyway, that's Dawie die Kabouter. We could honestly do this topic again as well.
That's wonderful.
Quite often I arrive at the end of a topic and I think, there's so much more.
I know.
I want to talk about this.
I started off with Little Mermaid and Winnie the Pooh. There's so much more.
Yeah.
Alice in Wonderland, lovely.
Yeah. I feel a little bit sorry for the clams. I mean, sorry or also happy for. Envious. The clams that get to become.
You're being a bit Prince Charles now.
But she doesn't have straps, right? They're just. So that means the clams are probably there.
They're probably
gripping
alive.
gripping themselves.
Shame, she's probably
being a bit Prince Charles.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, I remember his conversation. It made an appearance in The Crown, season 5.
Did it? Where he said,
I'd love to be in your underwear all the time.
Yes.
My luck, I'll probably come back as a tampon. Float around the toilet bowl the whole time, unable to be flushed down.
Did he really say that bit?
Yeah, because
I know that he said I wanted to be a
tampon. But what I find charming, I don't know if that's
Prince
the right
Charming.
word. Yeah, is it gets a bit naughty, and I want to be in your underwear forever.
Listen, we're gonna save this one for the Royals episode. There has to be. We have to do it. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. Thank you very much for joining us, sticking it out this long.
Prince. God save the king.
No. Controversial. Fortunately, nobody's going to watch this far. If you did, thank you very much.
Bye. We see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.